In this video, I'm going to review Zategy, a simple game of abstract strategy. And differently from what I do in most of my videos, I'm not going to show the game. I'm not going to take it out of the box. First, it's not needed to explain gameplay, as you will see later. Second, I don't need to do so to show the components. All the components are simply sturdy plastic square tiles. You have 4 sets in different colors plus a number of white ones. But the most important reasons why I'm not taking the game out of the box is that it is such a royal pain to put back. The box, as you can see, because of the shape, it's very deep and I can't reach the bottom. I guess I could open this bottom here, which is sealed, but then I'm afraid that things will fall off. So the only way that I could figure out to return the game to the box was to drop the squares. And what happens, they start dropping, they start bouncing around, they get in different directions, jumbled in all ways, and then I have to start over. Because actually the box is so small that in fact the only way to fit everything in it is, well, precisely to put them in these little columns. Basically I used a cardboard divider and then I dropped the squares one by one, hoping that one wouldn't get stuck in a weird direction. It took me, I don't know, I don't really want to think about it, until I realized I could actually simplify things for myself by using sandwich bags. So first I put every set in a sandwich bag, and then the sandwich bags individually, but that also, they have to be perfectly aligned. It's so tight that it wouldn't close. Why am I going on and on and on? Because actually that's an important thing. If you interact with this object, you're not interacting just with gameplay, but with the physical object. And it would all be fine and good. There are games that I spend an hour setting up and an hour putting away if it's worth it. It's a very simple, very light game of strategy that frankly doesn't give me much more than expanded Tic-Tac-Toe or a Connect 4 gives me. And don't get me wrong, I love Connect 4. It happens to be one of my favorite games. It's very simple, but it has a couple of interesting wrinkles. Also, I almost always win because I played it so much and other people usually play casually, so it's there's something to be said about games you always or almost always win. But I have Connect 4. Everybody has Tic-Tac-Toe and everybody can play Tic-Tac-Toe on a slightly larger grid. And pretty much this is how it works. Each player takes the tiles of a single color plus one white tile. A white tile then, that doesn't belong to any player, is placed in the middle of the play area, and then players will alternate playing their colored tiles. They need to be adjacent to a previous tile. Adjacent is only orthogonally, not diagonally, so you cannot have game pieces hanging there diagonally, and that's it. So you're forming a square of a grid of squares, and the first player to connect 4 tiles in a row, orthogonally or diagonally, wins the game. It's bidimensional Connect 4, which to me is less interesting because I like the restrictions that the gravity gives you in Connect 4. So, and it's also multiplayer Connect 4. That's about it. It doesn't give me a lot more in terms of gameplay. With more than 2 players, it feels very chaotic. Then almost always you feel that if you win, it's not because you had this great strategy, but because there's so much going on that somebody missed what you were doing, which is a legitimate way of winning, but it's only it becomes the only or almost the only way of winning, then it becomes a little underwhelming. There is a twist here. Remember, each player also has a white tile that belongs to them. You can play it once per game at the end of any of your turns after you place your tile, your regular color tile. It's a blocker because it doesn't do anything. It doesn't add to anybody's set. It does prevent the situation that you have in Connect 4 when you have 3 pieces in a row and with 2 empty spots, one on each side, which is of course impossible to beat. Once you have that pattern, then the opponent can only block one of them and you're gonna Connect 4 on the other side. Here you can place your tile regularly and then you can block it on the other side. It's okay. Frankly, I like in Connect 4 the very fact that you had to prevent the opponents from creating that situation, and you had to create that before the opponent does when you have the opportunity. So that white tile adds a little bit, but not all that much, because I'm going to try to do the same thing somewhere else, so why delay the inevitable? There is also, this is for the basic game, it's just two-dimensional, and it really feels like an advanced tic-tac-toe with a blocker. Then there is the advanced version in which we travel to the third dimension. In the 3D version, you're allowed to place tiles on top of other people's tiles. Then only the tile on top counts, so you have to imagine that you're looking at the board a bird's eye view. And also the important thing is that the fourth tile that you put in a row, that is the winning tile, needs to be the ground level, needs to be on the surface of the play area and not on top of something else, which is an interesting restriction. And tiles can go up to, you can have up to a stack of 4. Seems like that should add a lot. In truth, it makes the game a list potentially unplayable, because what happens if you have an annoying player and all that they do constantly simply to put their tiles on top of yours? Then that's just super annoying, and there's no rule that prevents a player from doing so. And you say, well, we're gonna put it on top of theirs. Well, they're gonna put it on top of yours, and that's a stack of 4. So next time you have to start from the ground, and they put it on top of your thing. You say, but I got a blocker, I'm gonna put the blocker. Well, they're gonna put a blocker. Basically, since they have the blocker too, whoever goes first, at the very can just decide to completely ruin the game, and at the very least they will tie. They can't possibly lose. I mean, there may be some mathematical things that I didn't see, but that's annoying. Now you think, well, don't play that way. True, but then you have to agree on that, and then when is it that then putting it several times on top of other people's tiles, placing your tiles on top of other people's tiles, it becomes not courteous. What is it? We're gonna put a rule there, well, we can cover other people's tiles a certain amount of times, but you see, you already have to make other decisions, and for a game that is this simple and you can play Connect 4 instead, I don't much see the point. So once we realize that you can just completely destroy gameplay by constantly putting things on top of other people's players, on other people's tiles. This of course applies with a 2-player game. So with 3 or 4, then you may have more ways of going around it. But with 2 players, I don't much see the point. With 3 or 4, the game becomes so chaotic. Then again, it was almost like, oh, I'm gonna lose. Oh wait, I didn't notice that I had that option there. Boom, I'm gonna do that. It feels so chaotic that it feels less rewarding. So I didn't quite enjoy it all that much. It's a very simple, very basic game of strategies, completely abstract, doesn't have enough for personality, doesn't have enough of a unique profile to me, doesn't present me with choices and interesting decisions that are exciting, and they feel rewarding, and they feel different from what I'm doing at the games. Because of course, it's not just enough to be good, you want to be good and not to feel too similar to other games. As I was playing the game, I just felt an intense need to play Connect 4, because I think Connect 4 does what this game does a little bit better with less chaos, and it's easier to put back in the box. So unfortunately, I don't have a particularly positive assessment of Zategy, but still, this is my assessment, and since this is my video, that's all I can do to share my opinions with you.